Stay tuned for this month's edition of Common Sense, where we'll get some insights into college financing and an update on a new OVB office location coming soon. Welcome back to Common Sense, the monthly TV show here on the cable channel at the University of Rio Grande, sponsored by Ohio Valley Bank, where we talk about issues that are current to both the business and the banking industry. Ryan, it's great to be back on the show this month.
It is.
Weather's beautiful outside, nice warm day.
First day of May, and it really feels like it. It's a welcome change.
Change from all the rain and all the cold weather we've had over the past several months. So.
Yep.
Things are looking up.
Oh yeah,
it's always looking up.
Got rain in the forecast for the next 3 days though. So
yeah, well, we'll just enjoy what we have today and be blessed with it.
That's right.
So anyway, today on our show, we're going to welcome Dan Short, and Dan again is with Ohio Valley Bank, and there at the bank, Dan is an assistant cashier, and he is the Bend area region manager, and he's here to discuss something that's near and dear to both of our hearts, I know, college financing options for students or for your children, something that everybody is usually blessed with at some time in their life if you have kids.
And some of us multiple kids.
And some of us multiple kids.
Times.
So we need all the help we can get.
That's right.
And we're going to talk about that for a little bit. And then also Dan's also going to give us a progress report on a new OVB location that they have coming in the Bend area office that's almost ready to go, as I understand it, and we'll be having soon. And I'm sure you welcome that new location, and your customers do as well. So, absolutely, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, Dan, why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Ohio Valley Bank?
Well, I am a Meigs Countyan by nature. Born in Cleveland, Ohio. Moved to Meigs County when I was 10. Graduate of Eastern High School. 3 wonderful children. One has graduated Eastern already. My other two are enrolled there. My oldest is 19 and is actually getting ready to graduate OU on Saturday with her bachelor's. So I definitely have some experience with the college financing. And I am the Bend area region manager at our new location. So currently we're inside the Pomeroy Save-A-Lot, and we'll be moving to the new office across the river in Mason.
Okay.
Very good.
So what is the Bend area?
So the Bend area is the area that encompasses Mason and Meigs County.
Okay.
So our office will service both sides of the river. Still going to be actively involved in Meigs County as well as Mason County. And if you come visit our office once we get open, I've got a picture that'll show that Bend area real well. Okay. We've got an aerial view of the area, so it'll look nice.
How it's got its name. So.
Absolutely.
Well. Yeah, as Brad mentioned, you've got some exciting news to share today, and I think if you want to describe that a little bit, go into a little bit of detail on the new branch that you're getting ready to open, and I think you brought some pictures for us maybe.
Absolutely, we do have some pictures there for you. That first picture on your screen there is just the rendering and the drawing. The office is coming along really well. We are currently inside the Save-A-Lot, and of course we'll be moving right across the bridge. The office is located right next to Bob Evans. The office is 2,100 square feet, much more room than our current location for anybody that's been in the office we currently occupy. Customers will also get to enjoy the benefit of drive-through services. We don't have a drive-through in our current location. Drive-through ATM, and even a night deposit that'll be drive-through. New office is open. It has a modern floor plan, ample parking. Just going to be a real big change for our customers.
Good.
We're real excited to get it open.
Good. How many employees will you have, or how many?
There'll be 5 of us in the office. I, of course, will go over there. Valerie Storms and Misty Carruthers, Ashley Fields, who's one of our tellers, and Debbie Sparkman will all be over there. Same crew that's in the Save-A-Lot now is moving over there.
Okay.
And just a follow-up question, maybe for some of our businesses with, the Small Business Development Center, we work with a lot of businesses and business financing. Do you have a loan officer, or will you have a loan officer at that location?
Yes, I'm the loan
Okay.
officer.
You
there.
are the loan
I do
officer there
take-
as well.
do
Okay.
our lending, absolutely.
All right, so you're a good point of contact for anybody that's out there looking for some business financing.
Absolutely.
You're the guy.
Yes,
Awesome.
they can come
Residential
see me.
and commercial.
I do residential, commercial. I can get the app started and we'll move over to one of our commercial lenders, but we'll get you in touch. Give us a call and we'll make sure you get taken care of. Absolutely.
All right.
Okay.
Very good.
So we saw the picture show it's in progress a little bit. I think you said even today it's been updated within the last week. Got some brick going on the front of it.
Absolutely. It's come a long way this week. Hoping to open late spring of 2019. I think we're getting close, and it changes every day. It's exciting to watch and see the progress on the building.
Yeah, good. Well, we're looking forward to. I'm sure your customers are looking forward to get that building open and having a great location to be served out of.
Absolutely. There's a lot of excitement in the area. Employees are excited. Customers are excited. We'll be real happy to get it open and get moved in.
Is it very far of a move?
Less than a mile, actually. It's not a big move at all. It just switches sides of the river. Geographically, it's about the same area, same customer base that we've been serving. We've always served that area, so it's a good move.
Okay.
Okay.
Now you're going to be expected to move all that stuff yourself, right?
Actually, we're not moving anything. The bank has done a great job. It's very modern, all new furniture. The customers will be pleasantly surprised when they come in.
Okay. Okay. And I know, one thing we've talked about, and I've seen advertisements for this. And of course, OVB's always been very community oriented. Very involved with community projects, schools. They help out however they can. And one of the things that we've seen a lot of use of are the debit cards. Can you tell us a little bit about what that program is in the Bend area?
Sure, absolutely. Currently in the Bend area, we've got 3 cards that we've worked with our local schools to get started. We've got an Eastern card. We've got a Meigs High School card and a Wahama High School card. That's the Eastern that you're looking at there now. And we've got the Meigs, and we've got a Wahama card. And then we also have the Mason County Fair card that they're putting on the screen. And then nearby we have Point Pleasant High School. And then our newest card, which will be getting ready to release, is a Mason County 4-H card, which hopefully will be out here in the near future. But the debit cards are nice. They're a great product for both the school and the bank. What we do with our Community First debit cards is we give a portion of the card that you're going to purchase. So instead of carrying a regular OVB card, when you come in and want a new card, we can make one of the Community First cards. We are going to charge $10 for the card. $5 of that goes to the school or to the organization that has created the card. So it's a fundraiser for them and a great way. And they can decide how they want to use that money. I know at Eastern, I'm also involved with the boosters at Eastern, the athletic boosters. So when we started that card, that money's going to funnel into the athletic boosters. So it's a great use of the cards.
Good. And that's not just specific to the Bend area. That program goes on. I know I've seen the advertisements for a lot of the other local schools too.
Absolutely. Those are cards that just the Bend area has worked on to get started, but there's a lot of cards in every area that we're in.
Okay. It's hard to believe. Speaking of fairs, I mean, that's just right around the corner.
It is.
It is.
Graduation's coming and school's almost out. We were talking about that at lunch. And
Colleges are finishing up.
Colleges
high
are-
schools or
Yeah.
local schools are not far behind.
I know. And speaking of the graduation, excuse me, I think you've got some big news to share. Daughter that's graduating, and this is the truth, but she's graduating at 19 years old, if that's right.
Correct. She will be she's graduating with a bachelor's in communication science and disorders from Ohio University on Saturday. So real excited about that. She was a CCP student and did a College Credit Plus student. She did an excellent job through that program. That program is for high school students who choose to get college credit as well as high school credit. From a parental standpoint, it saved me 2 years of tuition. So I am thrilled to death with her choice for that, and she's done an awesome job.
Okay. And they offer that the last 2 years in high school, I believe, junior and senior year. Can you do it early?
I think you can actually do it as early as a 8th grade,
really?
possibly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really expanded. I think when she started, it was just those last 2 years, but it has expanded down. I've got friends of ours who has a daughter that will graduate high school with a bachelor's degree from Rye Grand, so
Okay.
they're real excited about that too.
That's
So
great.
they're doing great things with the program.
Yeah.
But it is a great opportunity. I mean, we start talking about planning for college and how are we going to do that.
Pay
That's
for
an
it.
option that's out there
Yeah.
for everybody here in the state that they can access that.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, save you 2 years of tuition. So we're going to equate a value of that to probably close to $15,000
At least.
at least, minimum. And
And
it's a great opportunity.
Oh, it is.
I think
It
they've
is.
made some changes to it recently too, where you can apply the credits to more universities and colleges are accepting
Right.
credits from local schools. So
That is correct. Yeah.
yeah.
I will tell you, we had a great experience working with Rye Grand and with Ohio University. She had gone as far as she could with Rye Grand while she was in high school, and to get more into that communications and speech disorder, she needed to move to OU, and everything was seamless and transferred well, and they did a great job.
Good.
So real happy with both universities with that program.
Good. Well, and that kind of leads us into what we're really here to talk about, I think, and it's financing for college.
Absolutely.
And to get some advice and
Yep.
talk about that. So can you talk a little bit about your experience maybe as a parent and
Absolutely. I think one of the main things that I've seen or noticed is that there's a lot of opportunities out there for financing college. The biggest thing I would want to tell people is you don't always have to take everything that's in front of you. I've noticed with student financial aid, you can be eligible for $8,000 or $10,000 worth of loans. You may only need $3,000, but they're going to throw 8 or 10 out in front of you, and if you take it, you eventually have to pay that back. That
Right.
doesn't just go away. So I always, and something we've talked with my daughter about, is we're not going to take any more than what we need. We're not going to finance a car with it or gas money. It's going to be just what we need for tuition and move on. So we've been fortunate with that, with the savings with the CCP program, that she doesn't have any debt yet with her education. So hopefully we can get her through grad school, which she did. I forgot to mention she got into Bowling Green for grad school. So we're happy she's still in the state, a little further away, but she's going to be close enough where she can come home.
and cold?
Cold. She will be cold, yes. Yeah. We may have to finance a jacket.
That's right. You can take that extra money and buy a jacket. Buy a whole new wardrobe.
Yeah.
I hope she's listening. Well, as you mentioned, we were talking during lunch again that, like, for example, and you just said it, don't take everything that you need or that they offer. Just take what you need. And,
Absolutely.
a good example of that, I think, is the meal plan that you were talking about. That you might share.
So looking at grad school, the meal plan is $1,900 a semester. That's for one person. I'm not sure we need $1,900 a semester. So we have passed on the meal plan, and she may be eating ramen noodles, but she'll survive. So
You can do that for $1 a day.
that's
Or
right.
less than $1 a day.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep. So in the beginning, we've and I actually I'll ask these questions as personal questions because I've got a daughter that's a junior that we're going to be getting into this process, and it's kind of overwhelming when you really sit down and think your child's going to be leaving in a year or 2 years, and then you start looking at the expense of going to college, and if you don't have a great savings plan build up, or I guess, ours, we're lucky enough that if the child chooses to go to Ohio State, then there is tuition reimbursement for that. But, what are some of the things that, in your opinion, what parents and the students should start looking at early on to help prepare themselves for that year down the road or 2 years down the road?
I think first off, they need to work with a guidance counselor. Complete the FAFSA. It opens up October 1st of each year. You want to exhaust those resources with a guidance counselor. They can give you a lot of direction on scholarships, grants that are available. Of course, check on your scholarships. Apply for your grants. There's a lot of scholarships out there that that aren't hard to complete. It may be an essay, but it may be $1,000. I've seen some scholarships that I've sat on a board with that, we offer $1,000 a year and we don't get a lot of applications. And I think you just have to exhaust those. Talk to your college financial aid officer about scholarships, grants. Work studies are a great way. My daughter has done the work study, which definitely helped her not only apply knowledge in her field of study, but it also gave her some spending money. So instead of coming to mom and dad for, if I want to go out for dinner with my friends, she had some spending money for her. So that's always a great thing to have. I just think you exhaust all options before you look to borrow money. That's what I would advise every parent and every student to do.
Right. Yep. And one thing too, with you mentioned the scholarships. A lot of schools base financial aid that comes to a student on their incoming test scores that they achieve in high school. And we've all had that battle of hey, you need to do a little more prep for the ACT or whatever, and all. Mom and Dad, I studied for that, I know, but I think starting with that student as a parent, early on and saying, hey, if you can just work diligently on this, and if you can raise this score by 5 points on your ACT, that might mean $10,000-$15,000 in scholarships over 4 years with that college. And I think that's one thing that a lot of folks miss out on is kind of that preparation in the early years of high school and gearing up toward that financial award that could be there for you if you diligently work toward that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I know that we've taken the ACT, I think this is 4 times already in our junior year, so
right.
We were fortunate enough to score high enough that we can quit now. So.
Okay, well that's good.
Yep.
That is awesome.
So, are we missing anything on looking at financing options or scholarships, grants, and then loans? We, as far as the loans go, you mentioned it earlier too that you do have to repay these loans. That the more you borrow, the more you have to repay, and that can affect you also in the banking.
Absolutely.
Trying to obtain a loan when you get out of school. So
absolutely.
Maybe you talk just a minute about if you've had examples of that where you've had people come in, or maybe you pull credit and you got all this outstanding debt that's there. And
yeah, I think the biggest misnomer that I've seen is a lot of people think when their student loans are deferred, they've got out of school and maybe they're not making enough money, they're deferred. Well, eventually that deferment's going to stop. So from a banking perspective, we have to assign a repayment to those loans even if they're deferred. We have to anticipate you eventually having a payment there and justifying that you are going to have enough income to service that debt. So that's the biggest thing that I think people notice when they come to see us, and they weren't maybe necessarily expecting us to have to include that debt in their debt ratios, and you do.
Okay. Yeah. And typically, how long is a deferment period?
Normally it's 6 months, but
Okay.
based on your income, you can defer longer than that.
Okay.
Typically, we see 6 months right out of the gate.
Yep. We've got some questions from our audience.
We do. Are there things that you can do to keep some cost down of the room and board, maybe, or ways to help pay for that?
Well, I think there's definitely the work study programs are a great way to offset some of those costs. Having the student take a part-time job within the facility that is a federal student position, it'll help with those costs. And then of course there is separate bank financing that can be done for tuition. It can be used for room and for board. High Valley Bank, we have what's called an ACE line that we use, and that can be used there. Big difference with some of those products than with traditional financing through the federal student financial aid is that most banks that offer an ACE line program or something to that effect will require payment during the loan. Normally it's interest only, but you are required to make a payment every month on those loans and not just have them deferred till you graduate.
Okay. So the ACE line you're talking about, is that something that's been implemented over the last few years, or has it been in place for a while? Is it a new program?
It's been in place for a while.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not a new program. It is just additional. ACE line is additional college expense.
Okay.
So when you've got those additional expenses that may not you may not have factored in or weren't really ready to overcome, you can apply for the ACE line, and it is a good program. It is a program that any student might want to look at choosing to take an application for it.
Well, and you know, we've talked a lot about tuition being an expense, but there are other things that, you know, when you see the bottom line, or you know, you initially look into something and it says tuition's $5,000 a semester or $25,000 a semester, whatever it is, but there's lots of other things that go along with that.
Absolutely.
Such as room and board, such as books, housing,
Meals.
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 Yeah.
Getting back and forth to school if you're a commuter, you've got
Getting
to
back
have a
and
good transportation. Even if you're on campus, sometimes you need transportation depending where your dorm is, and you know, you can walk a lot, but you know, Bowling Green I think is going to be pretty cold. I think there's going to be a few days where she may not want to walk.
Take that ACE line and buy some new clothes.
There you go. Now I will tell you the ACE line, any kind of loan like that is a little different. We have to ensure that it's an actual college expense. So we want to make sure you're not buying a new wardrobe with it. We want to make sure it's for books, tuition, or something that you need. You can even use it for. I had a student that was a photography major and he needed camera equipment, so we allowed it to be used for that because to us that was the same as a book for him.
Okay.
Right.
Good. So is that like a credit line, or is that a?
It is an open
Okay.
line of credit, and then you know, if you exhaust that line, we can look at extending it depending on what your needs are.
Okay.
And one thing that I noticed, you know, I had a couple sons, one graduated and one partway through college. The whole federal student loan thing, you know, when they do offer you the money, you know, you qualify for this much, take it or don't take it. Don't take it if you don't have to. But one thing that I did notice, you know, when we think about federal programs or federal loans or federal whatever, we always have a assumption that it's a cheaper interest rate, or it's a reduced rate, or it's a subsidized rate. But from some of the stuff that I looked at, those interest rates seem to be a little bit high compared to what I'd looked at within traditional banking with mortgages or any other loans. They seemed kind of pricey. But
I think the difference there when you talk about mortgages, you can obviously do a home equity line of credit, access that, and have a credit line there available. That is going to be a better rate than a student loan, but a student loan is completely unsecured.
Right.
So you know, there's a higher degree of risk for a student loan because you've got no security behind it. You are
That's right.
simply a signature loan, somebody sign and say I'm going to pay it back. So the rates are typically going to be a little higher than a mortgage rate would be.
Right.
Absolutely.
So sometimes it's, if you have those assets, those might be a better option for you as a parent in the long run to
Absolutely.
utilize those things.
Absolutely. If you're going to borrow money, you can always look at that, and a home equity line of credit is not a bad avenue.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I know it's hard to believe, but we are getting short on time already. But I know we've got one more point we want to talk about. Just some resources that are available for students and their parents. And I think we might have some slides that are going to be pulled up for this. I think.
See if she's got them.
What would those resources?
We've got
Okay,
them
there
coming
they
up
are,
there
there they
now.
are.
Yeah, we definitely have the financialaid.com, studentaid.ed.gov/guide, and then the FAFSA.ed.gov are all great websites. I don't know if you guys have filled out the FAFSA. You're probably getting pretty close.
Yeah, we did it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it's interesting. Don't lose your password, because that is probably the most difficult password to get again if you lose it.
Somehow I get locked out every year. I've done it 7 times. I've got one more to go. I've done it 7 times, and I've had to go through the process of working with my son to get it verified. Nightmare.
Yes, it is.
I
I've
don't
been
know
there.
what happens.
I don't either.
Pretty diligent about keeping my passwords all written down too, and I don't know what happens.
I feel your pain. We go through this, and if your house is like mine, we end up in an argument of some sort as
Yes.
to this isn't working because you've put something wrong. Well, no, you had to do something wrong. So
Yeah.
we actually, and I don't know if you've exhausted this resource, this year we actually let my wife become the parent in charge. That way we could get a whole new ID and not have to worry about trying to find mine. So that did work for us this year.
Okay, that's an
Good
option
idea.
for next year, I guess.
Absolutely.
Get 2 strikes, I guess.
I've only got one more time, so I was so happy whenever I got to that point. I said, one more time.
Well, I know we are, like I mentioned, we are running a little short on time. Seems like this half hour always flies by. But is there anything that we haven't talked about that you want to make sure we cover today in the next 30 seconds or so?
I think we've done a great job. Just since I got some airtime here, I'd like to give a shout out to my daughter, Megan, graduating from OU this weekend again. Very proud of her at 19 to have that bachelor, and excited to see her go to Bowling Green for grad school. So very proud of her. Hopefully she's watching. I told her she better be. So.
That's right.
Well, that's great. Congratulations, Megan, and
Yes,
good
absolutely.
luck in grad school. Yep.
Absolutely.
Something to be proud of.
Yep.
Very proud of. All right.
Well,
Well, Dan, thank you very much for joining us.
I appreciate it. Love the opportunity. It's a great show.
Yeah.
good.
Had a good time.
Yep.
Maybe a little bit late for me since mine are about done, but Ryan
I'm
is
just
right
getting
here
started.
primed.
This is great. I'm taking notes
he's-
over
here. Yeah.
It's really been good for him.
I want to talk to you in about a year from now and see how your experience has been. I'd like to know.
We'll have you back in about a year, and we can.
We can update everybody.
That's right.
We can
We'll
do a
update
real
on the
live
changes.
case study
Yeah.
right here on the show. That's right.
I may not be as happy next year. We haven't. Bowling Green's a little more money. Grad school's a little more money than
Yes, it is.
traditional education. So, Dad may be opting for an ACE line here real soon in the future.
That's right.
Well, you know a good place you can get one.
Absolutely.
That's right. That's right. All right. Well, until next time, I'm Brad Bapst
I'm Ryan Mapes.
for Common Sense, and we'll see you then.